Now we're going to have the author spotlight, who is Mathis Rogers, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from him. I don't know when he started writing, but he is very prolific. He's got a ton of books out, so let's hear from him. Woo!
I'm glad you all made it today. I'm loudly recognize. Okay, is that better? Yeah, gotcha. Okay, have you ever flown to the top of a rainbow and slid down into a pot of gold? Nobody has. Okay. Well, my favorite show whenever I was growing up was Bewitched. So I decided, why not a gay blog? Of course, everybody probably knows that it's been reported that Agnes Morgan, who's Dora, was a lesbian. And of course, we all know that Paul Lynn, who played Uncle Arthur, was gay. But the character of both of them were not gay. But my story in the Halloween Night Golden Locket collection series, my main characters are gay. Now, you may also remember in 1994, the Shoemaker comic hit Jupiter. What you may not know is that the Witches Council created a resort there where it hit. They've got snow skiing, a great big lake for ice skating, and there's a bridge that goes over the lake that takes you from the Moonlight Lounge to the Starlight Restaurant. And in Mercury in Retrograde, which is book number 8 of my 9-book series, Jonathan Rhodes has created a virtual beach. You walk through his closet door, and there you are. And so him and his roommate's fiance's brother are sunning on a quilt floating 3 feet off the ground. And Sterling asked him that. So later, whenever it rained, Jonathan goes to find out what happens whenever he slides down. Well, first of all, if you land in a pot of gold, it's going to hurt. So he figured that out before he hit. So I'm going to leave that there. My first experience of riding was whenever I was in the 9th grade. And my teacher said, if we wrote something to put on the bulletin board, we would get extra credit. I needed all the extra credit I could get. So I wrote a poem called The Man. And I will read it to you because I haven't published it anywhere. Okay. There was a fire in the fireplace. The light danced on the girl's face. She thought she heard a noise. So she told the children to pick up their toys. There was a knock at the door as she rose from the floor. She walked over and opened it, and by the wind and the rain she was hit. A young man stood there. At him she could only stare. The children began to cry, but the door stayed open. They did not mind. Come in, she said, as he removed his hat from the head. 'Tis really cold out. We're not soon, no doubt. Hope so, she said, her face filled with dread. Have a seat, I'll get you something to eat. The children tiptoed over to his chair. At him they could only stare. He faded out as their faces filled with dread, for they all knew that for 3 years their father had been dead. Okay, back in 1995, or 6 rather, the internet came to Plainview, and some of y'all may not realize that there is a time before the internet. And so a friend of mine decided to set up a bulletin, or not a bulletin board, an actual web service. So he let me put my stories for free on his site. And I also found a place called Nifty Archives, and it's nifty.org, and they have millions of stories. So I posted them all there too. And I got a lot of readers that would email me. So I had over 100 readers. So it's very important to have your reader base and so you can communicate with them. In March of 2011, I got 4 different emails from 4 different people around the country. I think they were all just here in the United States, but I'm not sure. And they asked me, why did you change the name of this book, and why did you change your name? So they showed me where it was at, and I called Amazon's plagiarism department, and they immediately took it down. If I wouldn't have had those readers, I would have never known about it. 3 days later, I received an email from the publisher, and she was so sorry. And the guy had told her that he had written it because there was a contract he had signed. So I finally got an email from the publisher, and she really liked that story. My version of it is called Storm, and she wanted it. So I cleaned it up some, and I sent it to her. I did receive the check. It was only out for 4 days before my people let me know about it. So my first check for royalties was $12.96. I felt good to get them, to get that money. So I sent her the book, and she published it, and I sent her some more. Well, I didn't like the way she made the cover of one of my books, and I told her I didn't like it. She said, oh, it's modern, it's perfect. And I'm like, no, it's not. So I started looking on the internet to find another publisher. And I found a lady that had 5 authors on her website. And I asked her if she would mind publishing my other books. By this time, I had about 38 books out. And she said, I will be glad to, but you can do it yourself. And she showed me how. So that's when I started eHubNationwide.com. And I will publish it for you. It doesn't have my name on it. It's just you. It's all your fault. It's nobody likes it. And anyway, I had a friend that was in the Plainview Writers Guild who had moved to Lubbock. His name was Truman Day in Godwin, and he wanted me to publish his books. So I did. I published about 20 of his on this. And then he's got a friend that was in Oregon, and I published about 13 of his only. So I've got the experience of publishing that. Plus, now I'm working on book number 43, and I have 42 books published that I published myself. Yes, so it's something that can be done. And I do have a book called The Mysterious Bed. And the reason I wrote that was because I had to come back to Plainview to help Mother take care of her mother. And she had a subscription to Harlequin Romance. I'm sure nobody here has ever heard of that right. I read one of the books, and I don't know if I finished it or not, but I closed it, and I said I can do better than this. And so I wrote The Mysterious Bed. It was in time travel, and it was also in 1994, and you may remember that Sonny Bono went skiing and ran into a tree or something and killed himself. Well, I wrote this before he did that. So what happens with my character, he goes and he misses a turn and he runs into a tree and goes micro. So these 2 guys come along, find him passed out, pick him up and take him to an abandoned cabin and put him in bed. Bruce goes to get help at the lodge. This was before everybody had a cell phone. There is a time that was true. And so his brother Travis gets the hardwood and takes it into the bedroom, and the bed is made in case he is gone. And I'll go ahead and tell you because it's on the back of the letter. He wakes up in the year 2101 and has to figure out how to get back to 1994. And anyway, so that's my deal here. And I do have a lot of things from my readers, and I'm going to read this one. Hi, I'm Bashil from Mauritius. Never mind if you have never heard of that place. It's in the southeastern Indian Ocean, very far indeed from Texas. So that makes me world renowned, right? And then I have one from Lizzie. I love this one. She starts off, it is now by the clock, 4 a.m. I was forced to stay up and read your, time's up. I was forced to stay up and read your work. It's an obsession. I just wanted to say that I think you are a very talented writer and an extreme romantic. I'm guilty of that too. I look forward to you publishing a book or more. I know a lot of people who would love to buy your work. I just want you to say thank you before I fall asleep on the keyboard for writing all this wonderful literature and publishing it on the web. I can't wait for your next story. Yours in depth gratitude, Lizzie. So make sure that you get out there and let people know that you're writing and give us a sign-up form for them so they can sign up for your your email letter, and that way you'll have a following, and they'll you write what you want to, and they'll find you.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Getting those letters from readers, there's nothing like it. It just fills your heart with joy. It makes you so glad to be a writer.